Hi, everyone. I'm here with Tom Muck of Provide, our sponsor for providing capital for any kind of business that is related to dentistry. Tom, can you introduce yourself and give us a little background about who you are and what your company is about?
Yeah, so my name is Tom Muck. I live in Chicago along with Bob. I've known Bob for a handful of years now. We worked together at a previous financial institution, and I came over to Provide about 2.5 years ago. Provide is a dental specific lender that we help nation or dental specific. We also help veterinarian practices, but nationwide. So we lend in all 50 states. Our business is really based upon being a financial technology company. So essentially, Provide has created what is a paperless loan process. And you think, hey, it's 2022, right? I do everything on my cell phone. I literally do everything on my cell phone. And banking in general tends to be an archaic industry. And some of our competitors, and right, if you go get a mortgage, it's been a pretty painstaking process to some people. And that's something that people can really resonate with. And essentially, by creating a paperless loan process, we have some clients that will do everything from the pre-qualification to their application to honestly signing the loan documents via DocuSign for $1 million. And so meeting clients where they are has grown us to where we are today as a company. And when I joined, we probably had about 100 employees. We're now about 280 employees, and it will be the largest dental specific lender, or one of the largest dental specific lenders in the country at the end of the year. We'll do about over $1 billion to $1.1 billion in loan originations. So that process of really meeting clients, I say in their pocket, is arrived us to where we are today. And because we're dental specific, right? I'm sure everyone in the group is dental specific, but we understand dentistry through and through, and our products are built to that. So I say I'm dangerously knowledgeable. So I know exactly what a CBCT machine is. I know what it looks like in your office. I definitely know how much it costs, but you don't want me using it, right? And so that theme of understanding dentistry kind of is lays through our whole company, whether it's our underwriters who understand what the loan processor look like, what your practices look like, or right, our closers, or the people that help manage the bank account stuff. They all work with dentists, and so understanding what's important to you guys is also kind of where got us to where we are today.
Great. One thing I wanted to mention is that Provide is now a division of Fifth Third Bank, correct?
Correct. So about a year ago in August, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, we got purchased by Fifth Third Bank. So Fifth Third Bank is a regional bank in the Midwest, but they fund all of our loans nationally across all 50 states. Prior to that, we operated as an independent company. So I'd consider us the SoFi of lending. So SoFi doesn't actually have capital they lend out. They'd go out and raise capital from a bunch of different lending sources, then loan that money out for student loans. And now SoFi is a bank too. But Fifth Third was our main capital partner and bought us about over a year ago.
Yeah, although Fifth Third is a regional bank, but I've looked them up. They're one of the top 15 banks in the country.
Yes, they
So,
are. And so the cool thing is, from that perspective, is right, every business needs a bank account. And so really delivering that online experience is allowed us to build a concierge banking approach for our clients too. So they've built products for people that are out of footprint, like California. You've got San Francisco in the background there, where you shouldn't have to go into a branch to do any of your banking. So that concierge approach really puts time back in your hands, right, as a dentist, and allows you to focus on what's important there versus sending your office manager or going to the branch yourself. Kind of really tailoring that experience to make sure it's
Tom, I want you to tell me about how you can help dentists. What are the products that you can actually help dentists? Like if they're looking for this, if they're buying a real estate for a dental office, tell me what are those different aspects that you've helped there? And you told me before we started recording that you have helped about 16 of our members, right, in the past year.
Yep. So we've been a proud sponsor of dentistry in general for about a year now, and had the privilege of helping about 16 of those clients all over the country. I think they've been in I think 16 different states, to be honest with you. And so that exposure has been really cool too. And really cool to see provided in that stance. Think about us as being a one-stop shop for everything dental and anything dental specific. So we really built the business on, a practice acquisition loan. So doctors retiring, younger doctor or whatever doctor is buying that practice. We really built the business on that. That's our bread and butter. That's what it's been for a long time. But as we've grown the company, we've really expanded our product offering. So not only do we do that, we do scratch startups. So, hey, I'm a new doctor, want to lease a space, build out a new office from scratch. We would do that. We have a product actually in place to actually allow you to purchase real estate conventionally, not using the SBA for a startup as well. We've got equity out loans. So if you want to take equity out of your existing practice to buy some more equipment to kind of put a facelift on the office, that's a lump sum. So you just take up to $500,000, we drop it into your account, you can kind of deploy that how you'd like. We've got expansion loans. So I'm expanding my office into the next space. I'm opening a second location. We look at doing those. We do commercial real estate up to 100% finance too, for existing owners and owners looking to purchase the practice on the first time. We've got an app-only equipment product, so instant decision that's all electronic, up to $350,000. So if you're looking to buy a new CEREC or whatever, heavy piece of machinery that is going to really increase the production of your office, that's something that we can do instantaneously on your cell phone too. So kind of think about us as a one-stop shop for anything that you would possibly need to get financing for, right? And we see that dental offices every 5 to 7 years always need some sort of capital improvement. And so there's always a need for a lending institution like that.
So I know this question I had from you a few months ago, but there is small amount of money that you guys are not able to do. Like if someone needs $50,000 for a CBCT, would that be a possibility?
Yeah, I think sometimes, like for the equipment specific realm, we're probably looking at anything above $60,000. A lot of times the smaller ticket items tend to be better with either the vendor, because they can get the money out the door a little bit quicker. Our loan terms are really for larger ticket items for the equipment only stuff.
So $60,000 or above.
Yeah, it would probably make sense from an equipment perspective. Like we have a client, one of your clients from the group, that's doing a smaller renovation for $150,000. That was a deal that we were able to get done. So excellent.
And you said under 300, they can just do it off the app.
Yeah. So if you're buying a piece of equipment, it's literally an application. You get a link. That link takes you directly to. You can do it on your cell phone, literally directly to our interface. You put in some light information, just like you were buying a piece of equipment from one of the local supply houses. We get high ticket items. So obviously we're going to do your social security number. We always do what's called a soft credit pull, which I think is super important. Most banks are going to do a hard credit pull, meaning it's really going to ding your credit report. It's going to show up as an inquiry on your credit report, which could affect your score. Provides got a soft credit pull aspect. So it allows us to see your credit score. Especially for our equipment only product, let's see, hey, if you're above what our threshold is, and with no impact to your credit, which is a huge benefit on that perspective. For that soft credit pull aspect too also is incorporated into our pre-qualification portal, which allows dentists that are looking to either start a practice or looking to buy a practice, within 2 minutes they can fill out this online application. And we can tell them if they're pre-qualified. We can also actually give them a letter to see what their pre-qualified amount would be. And so depending on where they are in the country, they can deploy that letter to their local brokers to say, hey, I spoke with Tom at Provide, and I'm pre-qualified for X. I think that gives them a lot of merit, number one, especially if you're looking to buy a practice. Those practices, depending on where you're located, get a lot of buyers, right? And so something that allows you to stand out amongst the rest of your peers that are looking to purchase a practice is just something that, from a broker's perspective, you're quote unquote vetted. They're not going to potentially waste their time with the buyer that can't get financing. With that being said, not all practice purchases are financed, but most of them are. So.
Yeah, and that's a good segue to the next thing I wanted to talk about is that, some people may or may not qualify for the loan that they're seeking. It's not because this bank can't do it and Tom is going to, perform magic and all of a sudden give you $2 million. I always talk about the fact that banks and insurance companies work based on risk and based on the geographical conditions of an area. So if Tom can help you, Tom will do everything he can to help you. But if 10 banks have refused financing, that's basically means there is an issue with the application, correct?
Yeah, I would say that there are certain benchmarks that we look at, and most borrowers need to pass those benchmarks. The cool thing about the pre-qualification process is that it allows us to get insight into those benchmarks pretty quickly, and instant feedback for you, whether that's a coaching feedback, whether that's like, hey, we can move forward with this opportunity. That transparency and honesty is always forefront of mind for us.
Great. So I also want to stress this fact that it's very difficult, and this was my own experience back in 2000 when I was looking to buy a practice. I went to Citibank, and at the time they did not have a dental division. And they looked at me like I had three heads, and like, what do you mean? How are we going to secure this loan that you're looking for? And I'm like, I don't know. So back then there was another bank that had actually a dental division. So it went so smoothly, as in they knew exactly what they were doing. And this is what Provide is a lot more efficient than a lot of banks out there that you may have a relationship with, correct?
Yeah, I think the fact that, right, if you go like out of college, I worked at a large bank and we did like traditional commercial lending. And that's probably someone you talk to at Citibank, where a normal bank, they call it normal bank, but it's called asset-based lenders, right? They're looking for assets to lend against, whether that's, and what's your collateral, right? That's what banks look at. If you don't pay back the loan, how are we going to get paid back? That's how they think. It's all mitigating risk. And for banks that don't do dental loans, right, that collateral is nothing at the end of the day. Your equipment's probably worth pennies on the dollar for what you bought it for, similar like, a car. And so they look at those transactions and they're like, we don't have any collateral. Companies like Provide that do dental specific lending, we understand that the collateral pool is you as the doctor, right? We're really dependent upon you performing in that office to repay our loan. And the fact of the matter is that dental loans are super secure. There's only one greater pool of loans that has a less risky of a default rate, which would be funeral homes. So we've lent over $2.5 billion, and we've had 3 loans go bad in the last 7 years. So obviously dentists are, licensed, they've gone to school, they're licensed professionals, they know what they're doing. And they pay back our loans. But at the end of the day, right, we're looking at not only if you're doing a practice acquisition, we're looking at the collections of the practice and the cash flow. On a startup, we're really leaning into that doctor's production from their historical associateships. And we're really betting on you guys as the dentist to go in and do your job every day. I will say that those 3 defaults or 4 defaults that we've had are from circumstances that are outside of really doing dentistry. It's not like someone got dislicensed for pulling the wrong tooth or doing an incorrect extraction. It's more of external circumstances that caused, without getting into too much detail, right, issues with their licenses, right? So drug and alcohol problems, stuff like that, where like if you just go to work and like those things happen to people, you're most likely going to be totally fine. And the path to ownership in dentistry is a wonderful avenue to have a great lifestyle.
Yeah, and also I've known a couple of dentists that unfortunately had to liquidate or sell their practice, and that was due to personal illness, which also that's why I always recommend to people having disability insurance and things like that. You guys require that, correct, to have disability and life insurance?
Yep. So for different loan thresholds, we require different insurance requirements. I would say if someone's telling you not to get it actively and like using that as part of their pitch as to our loan is cheaper, right? Sometimes you'll get people saying, hey, our loan is cheaper because we don't require life insurance and disability insurance. And that might be the case. And we might not require it on some requests either. But I'm a firm believer, and I just got off the phone with the doctor before this, that she's having her first child in a few months, and she doesn't have life insurance or disability. And I said, you should probably get life, because if you're buying this practice, God forbid something happens to you, right, you want to make sure that that loan is paid off and your family doesn't have to deal with selling your practice. And so peace of mind in those situations, right, and same for disability. I think if someone is telling you not to get it, their motives might be ill-advised.
And I know you guys promise a speedy closing. Is that still the case? Even if there's a recession coming on and things like that, are you guys able to close this loan process faster than other banks because you guys are familiar with dentistry?
I think it's a couple of things. Right, that paperless loan process, which just seems so simple. Most banks require you still to email stuff. Some banks require you actually to fax stuff. And to be honest with you, I'm a millennial. I don't have a printer or a scanner in my house, right? And most people don't. And so that fact of going back and forth creates more time in the process, where this paperless loan process allows us to, super intuitive, you log in, you see exactly what steps are done, what's not done. If you have a CPA or an attorney, or there's a broker where you're buying a practice, they can actually upload that information on behalf of you or the practice you're purchasing, and saves you a lot of time. But like our turnaround times are second to none. Right now, I had a deal that was submitted on a Tuesday and approved on a Wednesday. So, and we're closing at a deal today that's going to be closing at the end of the year, and it just got approved. So our turnaround times, because we all operate out of the same system, and everyone works within the dental community and understands, the goal of, the year-end rush and why it's important for the buyer and the seller to buy a piece of real estate because you get the tax write-offs. Like, we're all focused on that, and Q4 is our busiest time of year. And so as you take advantage of tax opportunities and whatnot, we're in lockstep with that.
Okay, great.
I would say most banks probably, and I'm just speaking in general because I've worked at other institutions, a few weeks to a month to get your loan approved. So 2 days, a week, or our average turnaround time is about 5 business days.
Wow. Very, very nice. Tom, do you have anything else to add? I think we covered basically what we needed to cover.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Nothing specifically to add. I just want to thank Bob for allowing us to be part of the Dentistry in General group. I think, and I mentioned this to Bob, and I'm speaking candidly, the people in this group are exceptional individuals, all that I've worked with. And the content that he provides has been great. He's a well-vetted, I would say, too. For us to get involved in this was a very long process, even though I knew Bob for a long time. And so I would take everything that he says obviously seriously, because there's people that are part of this group, don't come lightly. And so I think I gave him everything outside of my blood type to be here today. So,
this is not the first time I heard that. Another sponsor last night was emailing me, goes, should I say how long it took for us to get in here? I'm like, whatever you like, man. But yeah, I mean, I always say I only got one thing. It's my credibility with members. Once I start getting away from that, we have nothing. But thank you very much again for helping our members with funding. I know this is a really important service that you guys also do, because if you're not there, we can't do business, so we need funding. And it's also important for older guys like myself who are, will be selling their practice. You guys provide the money for them to get out. And it's important for everyone, not just younger dentists, but the older dentists that may not need funding, but they need someone who needs funding. So they can maybe refer that buyer to you, and you can help them out.
That's a really good point. Another thing for young buyers is we've actually created on our website, getprovide.com. If you scroll down to the bottom, we've created a practice marketplace. So there's no for sale by owner listings on there, but most of the major brokerages in all 50 states, we actually aggregate their websites to one single platform. So if you're a young buyer or an owner looking to open a second or third or possibly fourth location to purchase, that's a great avenue that you can go on there. Think about it like Zillow for practice sales. So just one last thing, that's another great resource as a tech company that we could roll out. So
great. Thank you very much, Tom. Hopefully we can have one more of these in the future if people have questions, and then we can go from there. Thanks again.
That'd be great. Great. Have a good weekend.
You too.